sick and tired of people who say that if you debate and you disagree with this administration, somehow you're not patriotic, and we should stand up and say we are Americans and we have a right to debate and disagree with any administration.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator.
Today, Putin basically said in a long press conference that, all I want to do is protect the rights of the minorities, namely Russian speakers, and he's been on a campaign to give everybody who has any Russian connection, there are a lot of retired Russian military in Crimea, he's given them all Russian passports. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's what Hitler did back in the 30s.
We came, we saw, he died.
Things change and things remain the same. You're listening to the Savage Nation, a small radio show heard by only the select few, those who prefer fine wine to a rot gut. Listen to this program. Those who prefer fine china to broken crockery prefer the Savage Nation. And I admit there's a smaller audience for fine china than there is for broken crockery. Although I myself like a cup of coffee in an old cup, occasionally it's nice to dine on fine china. I'll present one question. First of all, no one else played the soundbite of the Hitler thing. And yes, it's a big deal. Yes, it's a big deal. She should be forced to answer for it. If we had a legitimate media and an opposition party, they would be saying, Mrs. Clinton, do you regret comparing Putin to Hitler at a time like this? End of story. End of story. And she'd have to apologize for what she did. She made a mistake. We all make mistakes. I do. But she ought to admit she made a mistake. She escalated this situation. She didn't de-escalate it. But here's the main question for you, the audience, which is, what business do we have in Ukraine? What is our problem? Why are we there? What do we have to? What do you mean sanctions on Russians? For what? For what? Tell me for what? What is it our business? Why are we sticking our noses into his affairs? Let the European Union do it. Let the UN take care of the situation and give Ukrainians their freedom. It's a very difficult show that I'm doing today and yesterday and the day before yesterday, going back to Friday. I'm having the highest stress level of my life since Serbia was illegally bombed by Bill Clinton. These are difficult times. And I'm dealing with this crisis in the best way I know how, which is from the point of view of one American. I would say one educated American, a highly political American, an American who distrusts the Democrat socialist regime down to his DNA, but on the other hand has had great distemper for the Republicans, who I have called Republicrats since 1994, long before you started to attack the Republican Party. I saw who they were, and it was two-card Monte with no peas under the shells. Okay, so there we are. But I don't want to see World War III, and I'm telling you what I see. It's all I can tell you. We have a group of war hawks disguising themselves as peaceniks, literally salivating for a war. Why would Hillary want a war? Why does John Kerry want a war? The reason is because they would become more powerful and more important. Just think of how grave John Kerry could look if there was actually a shooting war. Just think how important Hillary could make herself if, God forbid, this escalated even further. No, these are not skilled diplomats. These are craven, self-interested politicians who are making the world a much less safe place. Now you may say, well, what should they do, Michael? What should they do? First of all, it's not our business. That's number one. What the heck are we meddling in Ukraine for?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now.